Driveline is a private company in Seattle, Kent, Washington, that basically is on the forefront of player development. They basically become known for their utilization of technology and also how they're able to implement data and analytics into their player development model. Their test-retest model is what they call it, and what I think is most important. Basically, they evaluate through data analytics different technologies, all the different outputs that a player can achieve, whether it's on batting, pitching, anything like that, and they basically will measure the effectiveness of the drills that they do. So if they have a player do a certain hitting drill or a certain pitching change, they will evaluate that based off the technology and the data tools that they have, and then see if that implementation of that drill is actually leading to improvements or actually making them worse, and then adjust off that. What they did with us this week was basically come in and do a biomechanical analysis on all of our pitchers. So you can see from the pictures, we had guys with all different types of markers all throughout their body, and then they have, I believe, 10 to 12 synchronized cameras around them that can capture each body position throughout the motion of a pitch. So, and then we can see things like, body positions, joint angles, velocities, angular velocities, things like that, and see what type of ranges they're in, how their kinematic sequence looks, and where are some areas that they need to improve to be most effective. And they also use a tool called Rapsodo that basically measures the pitch trajectory, the pitch movement, the spin rate, the location, the velocity, the spin efficiency of each pitch they threw, with all those markers on them, and basically see how their different pitches play and what would be most effective for them. So basically just gathering a lot of data and then giving it to the coach and saying, this is the feedback that we got from the guys and what they're currently doing. And then it's our job as coaches to kind of say, these are the areas of improvement that we would like to see, and this is where they can, what drills we can implement to make them most effective and shorten their player development into, like we said, 6 weeks instead of a year, 2 years, 3 years, anything like that. And then on the hitting side, we utilize our HitTrack system, which we already currently use. Basically use that to gather 300 to 400 batted ball points for each player, and basically give a breakdown of, their different spray charts, where their deficiencies or where their really strong suits are in different parts of the zone, different types of pitches, see how their kinematic sequence works. So they had sensors on different parts of their body and see which areas are firing first and where their joint angles are at certain positions. Running them through different assessments to see how their different body parts move overall, and is there some issues that we need to address in the training room, in the weight room, anything like that. So basically giving us just an overall quantified look at a snapshot of what each player is, and in an objective way. So sometimes players think like, hey, the coach has always told me this, but I'm not really sure. This is an objective feedback from a third party that says, this is what you struggle at, or this is what you're really good at, and this is exactly why, and have it backed up by all the data. So basically just gave us a snapshot of each player, of where they currently are and where there could be some areas to improve, or which areas that they're really good at. And I think it complements our current player development model so well, because we were utilizing all of these things, but it just gives us a deeper look into like how our process is, because at the end of the day, we're trying to make our player development process the absolute most comprehensive in the country, and that's our goal. And you have to drop your ego at some point and say like, hey, like we constantly evaluate our players. We also need to be evaluated as a staff and say, are we doing things in the most effective and efficient way, or are there areas to improve? Because that is all that we want to do, is improve. Rapsodo is an absolute great tool for us, and one that we utilize every day in our bullpen. It's like a little black box 15 feet in front of home plate, and the camera points at the pitcher. So basically it captures the first 45 feet of the ball, and then we'll basically project all those metrics on the iPad of like where it would go in the zone, its vertical, horizontal break, all that kind of stuff. It is not used in game. So TrackMan is what we utilize in game, and that's kind of more, it's similar characteristics but different on the way it gathers it. Obviously Rapsodo is an optical video camera based system, and then TrackMan's a radar based system. So just how they capture that data is different, but ultimately similar feedback for those. Basically it gives real-time feedback on what their pitches are doing within their bullpen. So many times without that piece of technology, you're relying on your eye or the catcher or a day after from to analyze the TrackMan data. but instead now we can utilize in real time after that pitch. This is the spin efficiency on this pitch. This was the horizontal or vertical break on that pitch. That was the velocity on this pitch. That was the spin rate on this pitch. Our pitching coach can make real-time adjustments with guys and then see if that adjustment actually works. We'll be able to get an idea of what each specific player's like pitch characteristics are, you know, their spin rate, spin efficiency, breaks, velocity, all those types of things. And we'll, you know, be able to say, hey, this one was a really good pitch for you, or what you're trying to do, or what our pitching coach wants that pitch to look like. And a lot of times it's the player too, like, hey, I want my slider or my curveball to look like this and do this and have this type of action. And we can show him on the iPad and say, this is what it's currently doing. We need to make this small adjustment to get it to the type of break or the whatever it is, or this part in the zone of what you want. So I think it just shortens the feedback loop so much, and it's able to, you know, our guys have an actual idea of what our goal or what and our pitching coach's goal is for each pitch and what they need to do to make it look like that. And it gives the player a lot of ownership on his career, because he can say, you know, I want my pitches to do this because this is what I've seen be successful when I pitch. And now I can tangibly say, pitch by pitch, this one was closer to that or this one wasn't, and make adjustments there. And it just, I mean, it creates instant buy-in from the player. Like, no longer does, you know, Justin or whoever have to like convince the guy, hey, I'm telling you this grip is the right one to work. It's like, I can just show you that when you make this small adjustment, that this helps your pitch, this makes your pitch better. And it's just the buy-ins like that. So it's just so much quicker, and you shorten the player development part of that stage so much quicker that you're like, okay, go to the next thing, and it just, you know, it's a great evaluation tool that we use every day.